Hi, my name is Tamara, and you are watching Things Even a Monkey Should Know. Thanks so much for watching again today. As you know, if you've watched a few of my other videos, I'm not a professional at this do-it-yourself stuff. I'm just a girl who's figured out that there are a lot of things around the house and out in the yard and on the cars that I can do myself and save myself quite a bit of money, and hopefully now you too after watching some of my videos. So today finally feels like spring, and with spring comes bugs and birds and green growing stuff. Well, green growing stuff means that we're all going to have to start tending to our lawns pretty soon, right? So that means that you want your mower to be in really good shape to do that. So today I'm going to be showing you a few maintenance things on your mower that can help keep it running longer and healthier. So let's get started with that. So today actually isn't going to take that much stuff, and it really doesn't even take that much time, and it's totally worth it to get your mower working better from the winter and from all the abuse that it endured last season, because let's be real, we all kind of abuse our lawnmowers, right? So we're going to be changing the spark plug today, which means that you will need to get a spark plug that is appropriate for your mower. So you can do that by, you can actually use a search engine online, of course, and find the spark plug appropriate for your mower. Usually your local home improvement store is going to have that. You will want to have a spark plug wrench. Looks just like this. I know you can use actually a regular hex wrench or whatever, but it's really incredibly nice to have one of these because it just makes it so easy, and you know that it is exactly what it's for. We are also going to be changing the oil in our mower, so you want to make sure that you have the appropriate kind of oil for your mower. That is something, if your mower is going to be kept in basically normal conditions between, say, 0 degrees Fahrenheit and 85 to 90 degrees Fahrenheit, then you can use a 10W30 oil, which is what the recommended one for my mower actually is, but you can also get oils in synthetic. I mean, you have almost as many choices with oils for the motor in your lawnmower engine as you do for a car. So for that, you want the oil, of course. You'll want some kind of a container in which to drain your other oil, because it is like car oil and you don't want to just throw this stuff out, and a lot of times your local auto parts store will take lawnmower oil as well as your used car oil. So you'll also want a little something to, a funnel to help you put the oil back into your mower, and you'll need something to measure it out, and I'll explain this more later. You'll need to have a screwdriver, generally a flat-headed screwdriver. And if you want to change your air filter, you can. I usually only clean mine out. Again, that's something that we'll be going over. But if you wanted to change your air filter completely, you would need to buy a new one. Those are kind of expensive, so that's why I usually just wash mine, and it's done fine for several years. So also, you may or may not, depending on how dirty you want to get, you may need some work gloves. You might want to have some paper towels around just to be sure when that oil, sometimes the oil can be a little messy. For me, for a prop for the mower, I actually like to have a couple of cinder blocks. And then of course, you'll want to have the mower itself. So I believe that is everything I can think of that we'll be needing today. So my rule whenever I do any chore is that I always do my least favorite thing first, and on a mower my least favorite thing is changing the oil because of the messy factor. And it doesn't have to be that bad, but it's still a little messy. So the first thing that you want to do, you want to make sure that your mower has been sitting for a little while on level ground, because just like a car, you want to check the level, and you do that, usually you're going to have a little oil fill thingy right around in this area, and it will have a little icon on it that looks like a little old-fashioned oil drip pan. So you want to go ahead and take that out. Just check the level of your oil, make sure that it is at the appropriate level, and again, like a car, it's a good idea to wipe it off, re-dip it, and mine has not been losing any oil, so that's good. And this is actually something that I make it a rule to check every time before I even mow, because if your mower happens to run out of or run low on oil, the engine can seize up, and then you have no more lawnmower, and there's really nothing that can really be done if your engine freezes or seizes because of a lack of oil. So on my engine, they make it super duper fun to change this, because you have to actually flip the entire lawnmower upside down because the oil has to drain out through the drain hole. So now that I know that my engine hasn't been leaking oil, this is why I have the cinder blocks here, by the way. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to turn it upside down as best I can. It's loads of fun. And I'm just going to rest it on those cinder blocks. So this is where it gets really fun, because I'm going to set my container to catch the oil down below where the oil is, but as soon as I open this, it's going to start pouring out, so that kind of sucks. But you just do it, get your hand out of the way as quickly as you can, and it should start dripping out. And I'm actually going to pick up the mower just a bit to help it not dribble down the side like it's doing right there right now. So we've got the oil out. That's pretty important. So, well, I was going to try not to block you whenever I was doing this, but I don't know if it's going to be possible not to. So we're going to go ahead and flip it back over. And as you can see, it's totally doable with one person too. Okay, so I've got the mower cleaned up from the bits of oil that I spilled on it. And so now I'm going to pull the plug back out, and there's nothing in there. And here's why it's important to know how much oil your motor takes, is because you do not want to overfill this. I'm going to go ahead and put my funnel in there, and once you use this for oil, of course, you want it to always be designated for oil. And this is why I have a 10-ounce measuring thingy that was at one time used for food, but not anymore. It's the only thing I knew for sure that was 10 ounces that I had. So my mower takes 18 to 20 ounces of oil. So I'm going to go ahead, and that means I can fill this up twice. Just go ahead and close up your oil fill here, and you want to let it sit for a couple minutes so that the oil can drain all down into the engine. And so we're going to do some other stuff in the meantime while we wait on that. So while we wait for the oil to settle in there, we're going to go ahead and change the spark plug. Very easy. First you need to pull the connector off the plug, and it just pops right off typically. And then you'll want to see which end of your wrench fits on the spark plug, and for me it's this end. You have kind of a nice little thing there. And so then we're just going to go ahead and turn this to the left, and the spark plug just screws right out. Very nice. And there it is. So whenever you get a new spark plugs have what is called a gap. And you see that little space between, well, right there at the end? That is gapped to a certain, a very certain measurement. And you want to make sure that you either buy a spark plug that is pre-gapped correctly. It should say so on the package. My package didn't say so, so I went asking around and finally found someone who told me that they were. Or you will need to have a gapping tool, and you'll need to do it yourself. I would recommend buying them pre-gapped just because it's easier. So I'm just going to go ahead, screw this in. Remember, lefty loosey, righty tighty, so I'm screwing it to the right. And hand tighten, and then just give it a little extra tighten with the wrench. But you don't want to over tighten, because you could snap the spark plug off and it would be stuck in your engine, and then that would really suck actually. So then all you do is just snap the wire back on and it had a nice little click, so that was all there was to it. So the last thing to do, guys, is check your air filter, clean your air filter rather, and it's going to be located in a little box somewhere on the top of your engine. And I do this several times a season because mine tends to get dust built up in it. And you know when your mower goes, it's usually because you have a clogged air filter. So like I said, this would be the time that if you wanted to actually change it, you could, but these silly little foam things cost about $7, and so I don't. So all of this can just be sprayed off. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to take it out into the yard and spray this off. And after you do this, after you spray it off, you do not want to put it back into your mower wet. You want to let it dry out for a few hours, make sure it's completely dry before you put it in there, because if you happen to try to run your mower with a wet air filter, you can suck water into the engine and kill your engine. So you want to be sure this is good and dry. Okay guys, well one last thing here, almost one last thing. The oil should have settled pretty well by now, and I'm going to just check it to make sure that we have the proper amount in there. So I'm going to go ahead and pull out my dipstick. Remember, you want to pull it out, wipe it off, and then dip it in there again. And you probably can't see, but it is exactly at the full level. So I feel pretty good about having done that. So we know that our oil's ready to go. Now just to wait on that air filter. My air filter is nice and dry, so I'm going to go ahead, pop it back in here. It should just fit nicely like that. And if you'll notice, I did put the cover on this while I was waiting for it to dry, just because you want to eliminate any possibilities of anything that's not supposed to be in your engine getting into your engine. So just putting the air filter in and screwing it down, and now we should be good to go. Hey guys, so wasn't that incredibly easy? We're actually all done. Those are the 3 big things that that I do to keep my mower running, and as you saw, it sounded really great. If you try to start your mower after it's been sitting for a winter, and and after all the abuse of last year, it probably won't sound very good, but this one sounds really healthy. So I'm pretty happy about that. And it took me less than 10 minutes, and I didn't even get my jeans dirty. My hands feel a little bit oily. Probably would have done me some good to wear some gloves, but that's not a big deal because that stuff washes off. So again, with your waste oil, call your local auto parts store, see if they'll take it. They should. I would say 90% of them do, or maybe even 99%. And don't just throw it down the drain or in the yard. That's a bad thing to do. So one other thing I wanted to add about the spark plug, the whole reason for changing the spark plug, in case you didn't know, spark plugs are what spark, haha, and make your little internal combustion engine, which is what you have, they make it go because they provide the firepower. So if you have a dirty spark plug or an old one, then your engine is not going to be as likely to want to crank up really easily or stay cranked very healthily. So it's just a really good idea to replace those every year. And I believe the spark plug was $5. The wrench was $3. The oil, I can't remember how much the oil was now, but it was $5 or $10. And of course I didn't pay anything for the air filter because I just cleaned it. But those usually run about $7 or $8. So you could take your lawnmower in to be maintained and pay someone else to do it. On average, that's about $50, and to me that is just not worth it for less than 10 minutes worth of work. So I hope this helped you if you were looking to do some good lawnmower maintenance. And happy yard mowing. So thank you very much to everybody who's already subscribed. If you haven't subscribed already, please do so. Find the tiny minuscule subscribe button up in the corner one of these days. Hopefully I'll get that fixed. And join me again next time. So until then, like I said, happy mowing, happy spring. Yay! See you next time.